So, I'm finally sticking to my word and trying to film more videos because I honestly really enjoy doing this, and it's really helpful to me to kind of talk about these things out loud. And I feel like this is a really good way for me to do that and maybe possibly help other people while doing it. So I wrote my little list because I'm obsessed with lists, and I went on a video on how to keep the weight off. So I feel like what everybody wants to know after you've tried PHENTERMINE is, how do you not gain the weight back, right? And so I feel like the video that I filmed a few months ago that were just my main tips for PHENTERMINE gave you a lot of tools and a lot of expectations, and you could use that to help you with not gaining the weight back. But this is just more specific and things that have really helped me in my own life, and hopefully will help some of you guys. So I have a few tips here, and I'm just gonna read them off and kind of talk about them. So the first thing, and I think the most important thing for me personally after my weight loss journey, before I even start into this, I want to give a little background information for people who are maybe new, who haven't seen that other video. I lost around 80 pounds I lost the first 3 months, or the first like 4.5 months actually. I was taking PHENTERMINE and then continued to lose weight after getting off of PHENTERMINE, and have now been at this weight for I don't know, 5-6 months, a long time. It maybe even longer than that. I don't know. I have to think about that. Anyway, and this is a weight that I'm really happy at right now. I'm currently at 140 pounds. I'm 5'2", so that's still, like, I probably could lose more weight if I wanted to, but I do CrossFit and would like to be competitive with CrossFit, so weight loss isn't really a goal of mine anymore. Anyway, but in the beginning of my weight loss journey, I tried absolutely everything you can think of. Every single diet, I tried it. Keto, intermittent fasting, everything that you could possibly try, I gave it a go. And I couldn't even say if it worked for me or not, because I just would quit all of them. Like, I would do it for maybe 3 days, and then I would be like, oh no, this is too much, I can't do it. And I got to a point in my life where I was really unhappy with myself, and I felt like I wasn't even able to let other people love me or see me because I was just so unhappy with who I was as a person. And I'm not at all saying that I was unlovable at that weight. That's not what I'm saying, but I think that I had to show myself that what I was capable of. It wasn't necessarily at all about what I looked like or the number on the scale, but really my own capabilities in forming that relationship with myself. And I think weight loss was a part of that, but definitely not the only factor. And so I think that PHENTERMINE for me was very beneficial, because it just allowed me to see that, hey, like, if you use something and you continuously work at it, you're gonna see results. And so then once I got off PHENTERMINE, I was like, you know what, I can do this. Like, I know what to do. And I just kept doing it and kept doing it. And weight loss is so hard. It is so challenging, so hard. Forming a good relationship with food is overwhelmingly challenging, especially because those are skills that we have embedded in us throughout our childhood into our adult lives. And anyway, I'm going off on a tangent now, but yeah. So I have been consistent at this weight since going through my weight loss journey for a while now, and these are things that really helped me. So the number one thing that I think is most important when you have just went through weight loss and you're trying to keep your weight off is to know your own triggers. So a really big trigger for me is TV. And that's not to say I don't watch any TV, I definitely do. But I was really bad about sitting down to watch a show, a movie, and I would eat. Like, that was my time to like just snack and like eat anything I wanted to eat. It became such a habit that I couldn't watch TV without eating. So now what I have done to kind of eliminate that trigger is I no longer will sit downstairs and watch TV because my living room is right beside my kitchen. I will only watch TV in my bedroom, and so I feel less tempted. So that's been very helpful to me, and everybody's triggers are different. That's just mine, so that's an example that I have. But being aware of your triggers, knowing what they are, and setting up precautions so that when you're not constantly having that in your face. Like, you have to know what's right for you. And that's a really big thing for me that I do continuously every day. I make the habit of doing that because I have found if I do go downstairs and watch a movie, watch TV, I am way more likely to go sneak in my fridge and have something that I probably don't need or even really want. So the second thing that I have is a big one, which I feel like everybody talks about, and that's balance. So obviously when you're going through a weight loss journey, you're probably really strict on your diet, your calorie intake, the foods that you're eating. And I don't necessarily think that that's a healthy way to live your life, or at least it wasn't for me. I didn't want my whole entire life to be about food and to be constantly thinking about what I'm eating. I didn't want to go out to lunch and be like, oh my God, I can't eat a piece of pizza with my friends, you know? So I have kind of like self-talks with myself because I still feel a lot of food guilt when I'm eating, and I'll have to be like, you know what? It's okay. You know, eating this is not going to destroy all of this progress that you've made. Food does not control you. This one bad choice does not dictate how you're going to eat going forward. And bad choice isn't even a good way of saying it, because I don't necessarily think it's a bad choice to have a piece of pizza with your friends. It's just, you know, making sure that you're happy is really the overall goal. A way that I kind of balance is I keep like one of the giant tubs of Reese's cups from Sam's in my closet, and every night before bed I have like 2 of those. And that's just kind of a good way for me to, like, if I get a little craving and like late at night, I'll go like have 2 of those, and that's, you know, better than going downstairs and overeating. And I know that may not work for everybody, because some people might have a box of Reese's and like you eat the whole thing, but sweets aren't really a big struggle for me, so I don't know, that works for me. But you have to find what works for you. Sorry, I hear noises downstairs. Anyway, the next thing that's really important is to be honest and open with yourself and with others. And so for me, that kind of meant admitting to myself that I clearly had an eating disorder. After having my daughter, I created really bad eating habits for myself that I really already had, but I just kind of grew on after having her, because that was a really vulnerable, difficult time for me. And so my bad eating habits just kind of escalated, and I developed a binge eating disorder where I would sit down, like I would plan out these binges where I'd be like, okay, tonight I'm gonna have this, and I'm gonna watch this show while I eat it, and I'm so excited, like it's gonna be so great. And then I would eat all that food, and I would feel really horrible about myself and go into really bad self-deprecating feelings. And anyway, that would just continuously go on throughout my life. Sorry about that. My daughter just and her dad just came inside from jumping on the trampoline, so I can hear them playing across the hall, and I'm like trying to be quiet because it makes me so uncomfortable for him to watch me. Anyway, so like I was saying, I had to be really honest with myself and admit that what I had was a binge eating disorder, because it was really easy for me to kind of want to underplay it and want to be like, oh no, it's not actually eating disorder, you know, I'm just using food as a comfort and I can stop whenever, whatever. It's not a problem that I need help with. And sorry, my dog is squeaking his toy over there. Anyway, so I had to really open up with myself and be like, you know what, this is a problem. I need help. I need to talk to somebody about this. I need to, you know, really work on this to better myself and to be my best self for myself and my family. And being able to admit that to the people around you so that they understand the severity of the issue, because I think, and for me personally, the people around me didn't really understand, and you know, it just to them was like, oh, you know, she's overeating, whatever, you know. it wasn't really viewed as a problem, like, and so I had to really sit down with people with the people in my life and explain to them, like, hey, I'm struggling with this. This is hard for me, like, and it's something that will be hard for me for the rest of my life, and I need you to understand that and be there for me if you want to be a part of my life. So I think having those conversations with people are really important. And even if you don't have an eating disorder, like, even like, more than likely, if you are on a weight loss journey, you struggle with food. So even if you don't legitimately have some type of eating disorder, you still are more than likely struggling with your relationship with food, and that's something that you need to be open with yourself and with people around you, and really try to understand why you think you've developed that unhealthy relationship with food. Like for me, I think I had to look a lot back on my childhood and where these triggers came from, where this bad behavior came from, why I started to view food as a comfort rather than a necessity. And I think that takes a lot of personal growth and a lot of personal understanding that is really hard to do, and that is something that is very personal and vulnerable, but I think that it's very important to do, preferably before your weight loss journey, but it doesn't always happen like that. A lot of people lose weight in a very unhealthy way, and so more than likely it may happen after your weight loss journey, when you've gotten to a better place and now can maybe look at everything and be like, hey, I need to really think about why this happened so that it doesn't happen again in my future. That was a really big thing for me. So moving on, kind of to go hand in hand with that is having a support system. I know that when I was at my really bad place where I was gaining a lot of weight, I didn't really have a support system. And so if you're someone like that who doesn't have a support system, I think YouTube is a really good platform. Like, film a video, talk, like, about what you're going through. Like, even if you have no viewers at all, like, I think I have like 200 viewers, at least, like, saying it and putting it out there can be really helpful, and you may even help somebody else along the way. Or like for me, I created a fitness Instagram, which allowed me to kind of post and see other people doing what I was doing, and that was really helpful to me. So yeah, there's resources. If you don't have anybody in your life who really is a support system, there are ways to put yourself out there so that you don't feel like you're completely going through it alone. My next tip is meal prepping. So this is a really good tool for me personally, because I'm really bad about when I go work out, I come home and I'm hungry, like I'm starving, and if I don't have food in my fridge, like, I'll eat whatever I can get my hands on. So we live with my mom, so if she's made like lasagna, I'm like, oh my god, okay, it's done, like I'll eat lasagna. And then I typically, when I eat foods that's probably not the best for me, I tend to overeat, and that kind of is, I really try hard to not overeat. Like, that's my own personal goal. Like, I don't mind eating foods that aren't necessarily the best for me every now and then, as long as I'm not overeating, because that's kind of correlated with my binge eating disorder. So to just keep all of that from happening, if I have a meal in my fridge, it's already ready to go, I can pop it in the microwave and I can just eat. So every Sunday I meal prep for me and my fiance. We do it together. My daughter helps me season potatoes, and it's super fun. We do it as a family, and we typically make the same meals every single week. So for him, for his lunches, he eats like chicken, potatoes, and green beans, and then I'll eat like probably the same thing. And then for me, for dinners, I typically do like ground turkey, brown rice, and kale. And super simple, super easy, but like yummy. Like, pick foods that you really, really enjoy and make them over and over again. Like, that's really productive to me, and we don't get tired of it. And if we do get tired of it, we make something else the next week. Like, it's that simple, and it just takes a lot of our stress away. I do typically cook an actual dinner just because I'm at home right now, so I have time. So I'll cook dinner for my daughter and him, because he doesn't meal prep his dinners. But then I'm not like, I don't feel tempted to eat that because I know I already have my food made for me. And neither one of them, they're super, super, super picky, so it's a struggle. But yeah, anyway, meal prepping is really effective and really, really helps me and my family. So And the next thing that it's not really a tip, but something I want to talk about is if you do live with people who are not supportive of your weight loss goals. I'm sorry. I think the neighbors just closed the car door. He's gonna bark for a while. I apologize. Anyway, like I was saying, if you live with people who are not super supportive, or maybe just don't fully understand your weight loss goals or just your issues with food in general, I know that can be really challenging. Like, that was really hard for me because my mom would make, like, she would say she was trying to be nice, and she'd be like, hey, I made you your favorite, like, cheese ravioli, like, here it is, you know, things like that. So, but I guess my tip is really to be prepared for things like that. Be like, oh, I really appreciate that, but I already have my food meal prepped for me. So really just like giving yourself all the resources that you possibly can to succeed. Like, you want to supply yourself with every opportunity for success and make sure that you have the tools to succeed on this journey, because any type of food addiction is so hard. Like, you're constantly, food is everywhere. It surrounds us. Like, you can't drive down. Hopefully that was the last interruption. Anyway, like I was saying, food is just constantly going to be put in your face. You know, you can't go anywhere without thinking about food, without food being just right in front of you. So I think that you just have to give yourself the tools to make those good decisions, because it's constantly going to be a factor in your life. So another tip is you need to eat until you're full. Like, I can't say this enough. I think we make bad decisions when we're hungry. We make bad food choices when we're like, oh my gosh, that sounds so good right now. And typically things don't sound that good when you've eaten enough food, because you're full, you don't want anything else. And so I think that that's a really hard thing to do after a weight loss journey, because you're used to trying to lose weight, and now you kind of have to come into a place where it's like, oh, I can actually, you know, I don't have to regulate my calorie intake as much as I was doing before. Like, that's not to say that you can just eat as much as you possibly can, but for me, I work out pretty heavily, and so that allows me to eat more calories. So if fitness is a part of your life, then you'll probably be able to eat more calories as well. But just eat until your body's full. Try to really listen to your body's cues. Eat slower so that you can feel those cues easily. It's really hard to pick up on them if you're eating food really quickly. That's something that I struggle with. My fiance says I just shovel food in my mouth, so it's hard, but I'm so sorry. Anyway, so yeah, that's another tip, is to eat until you're full. But don't let yourself get to a point where you're really hungry. And oh my god, he doesn't even know what he's barking at. Anyway, last tip is to, even though you're not on a weight loss plan anymore, you still have to stay motivated and have goals. Even though weight loss might not be the goal, I think it's so important that we constantly have goals, because if we don't have anything to aim for, it's like, why are we doing it? And it's really easy to give in to those food temptations. So I think you have to have a driving force. Even if it's no longer weight loss, it can maybe be strength or better performance in the gym, or just overall health, like whatever it may be for you personally. I think it's really important that after you have come out of the weight loss, to sit down with yourself and be like, okay, what are my goals now? And to be constantly getting new goals and just staying motivated. And I think that helps me a lot to not be tempted with food, to just have that reminder and that for myself. So those are all the tips that I have. I feel like this video was all over the place. I have so much to say about my child screaming. I have so much to say about food addiction, and weight loss and everything. And I really just want to like put it out there because it helps me, and I hope it helps you guys or somebody. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry there were so many interruptions and my dog's barking throughout most of it. But if you guys did like it, then give it a like and maybe leave me a comment. I love seeing comments from you guys. So I'll see you guys next time.